split it up and do half over here, and then the smart board that we have is actually across the hall in room 200. And the way I like to do these Canvas sessions is I'll try to stay on topic for the first 30 minutes or so, and then usually what happens is we sort of wander off into your own questions. Probably you have specific questions or something that you need help with, and so the last 30 minutes or so we'll get into those specific things, or maybe we'll just wander off onto a different topic. There are computers here in this cart. There are some laptops, and you can plug them into these little tails if you want to follow along. That's what those are for. That's what this room is set up for. So please feel free to play along if you want to. So we'll start today with just an introduction to Canvas. I'll assume that we don't know anything. Has everyone been able to get into Canvas? You've got a working username and password, as far as we know. That's pretty well critical. So when you first get to Canvas, you should be presented with, okay. So when you first get to Canvas, you're going to see in the top left there's a little drop down, and yours may say courses and groups, or it may just say courses. If you're not actually in any groups, then it just says courses there. But hovering over that will reveal any courses and or groups that you are enrolled in. Probably you will not see all of these. You may see some others or some different ones. As you gain more and more experience with Canvas, and perhaps terms roll over and you get in courses that have expired or old or previous courses, what you'll find is that this list begins to populate more than you would like. So you can use this little button right here. It says Customize. You can click on that and choose which courses show in this list over here, and you can see that I have lots of courses that I'm enrolled in, but I have hidden them because I don't want them all to show up. Does that make sense? Or are we still waiting on computers?
I'm still waiting.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to this if we need to. This really is sort of a convenience thing. If you're in a hurry and you're trying to get a student going, and you click up here and you've got 36 courses listed here, then you see why it might be important to customize this list only to your current courses. Any groups that you are in will show in this list, and administrators would have this option over here. Yes, ma'am.
Are we supposed to be on this page?
You can be wherever you want. That's the idea with the computers.
Okay, but I'm trying to follow what you're doing, and I don't know.
Well, this is just the main Canvas page. When you first log in to Canvas.
So how do you get to Canvas?
Okay, let me back up some. From our home page, suscc.edu.
Everybody with the exception of Martha.
Okay.
Has been introduced.
Okay.
I still didn't know how to get into it from here. I just got it on my computer, my home,
Okay. You can always go to suscc.edu, and then in that yellow menu bar, that first option is Canvas. And then to save a couple of clicks, you can save that as a bookmark and just go straight to it. I don't know what's going on with my projector. It's kind of flickering. That's usually, if you're ever troubleshooting a projector and it's doing what it's doing, see how it's changing colors? It's usually just a bad, there's a connection that is sort of trying to wiggle loose in tighten that and it'll fix it. So if you click on Canvas, login screen, email, password, and then this, we're back to where we were a second ago. Okay. So we have all of our courses and groups here. We can customize to hide courses that we don't care about right now, or we can click on ones that we do care about right now. So I'm going to click on one that I have called Playground, which I use for things like this. Good? You're not. Okay, so the first thing I try to encourage people to do when they're trying to develop a course for students to use is to hide all of the things that may confuse students. I like to get rid of stumbling blocks as much as I can, and one major one is, in my opinion, buttons that are not necessary. Because a student who is confused will start clicking things and oftentimes get into some area that they have no business. So one thing that you can do in Canvas, and it's quick and easy, is to update your navigation menu. You see all of these buttons over here on the left, this left-hand menu? I can click on any of them at any time. I'm trying to get rid of this little thing. Is in the way. I'm an instructor, so I can always click on whatever I want to. Students can only see the ones that are showing in black. The ones that are sort of grayed out are invisible to students. And so there are some here that even though some of them are gray, there are still some that are showing to students that I don't really want them to see. Like there's one for something called examity and attendance and collaborations. I don't even know what those are. So I certainly don't want students clicking on those and getting confused. So what I'm going to do is update my menu. I'll click on Settings in the bottom left. Settings is always available. It's always in the bottom left. And then there's a Navigation tab, and it's in the middle. Now the heat kicked on. Turn the air down. So the way that we adjust this menu is things that we want to show to students should be up here, and things that we don't want for students should be down here. So examity I don't want, so I'm going to click on it and drag it down here. Pages, collaborations, assignments seems appropriate, so we'll leave that, and we'll leave conferences maybe, and we'll hide chat. Actually, let's put chat back and hide conferences, because we might play with the chat thing here in a second. But I don't want them in that order. I want modules up here, then assignments, then attendance. And save. So now, I'm still in the settings menu. When I push student view up here in the top right, this is going to give me a screen that is more like what a student would see. And see, these are the only buttons available now. Did you give up on it?
I'm signed in as a student, so I can't get any of that anyway.
Or you don't have an instructor account somewhere?
You probably need to work on Patricia for right now, because I haven't, you're not assigned.
She's not assigned.
Well, I can, hang on a second.
You want to just assign her?
I can make, this is a playground course that I have that I use for, oh shoot. And while I'm doing this, I can show you how to add people to your course. You should have a people button over here on the left. The people button, you may want to let students get to that, you may not. The people button allows the students to see what other students are in the class. If you want them to sort of collaborate and email and talk to each other and know who's in their class with them, then you can reveal that button. If not, you can make it gray, but you can always get to it as an instructor. I'm going to click on it, add people. I want to add, in this case, I want to add a teacher so Ms. Law can have all the buttons that we're playing with. mlaw@suscc.edu. Next, add user, and done. And that person does not necessarily have to already have an account in Canvas. It could be some guy that walked in and you say, let me put you in this course. You just get a valid email address from them, stick it in there. Canvas, when you do all of this, Canvas will generate an email to them inviting them to this course at whatever user level you selected.
Could you repeat that again? I know that you had the people.
Yeah, so I clicked on the people button over here on the left, and this is where I can, like this guy, I put in here for something else. So I don't want him in here anymore. So I'm going to do this little drop down gear thing over here. I'm going to remove from course.
Okay.
So he's gone. Don't have to deal with him anymore. But I have new people that I want to add. So I'll click add people, and I can say, I'll put Jeremy in here. Jeremy Taunton, do I want him to be a teacher, a student, a TA? What do I want him to be? And if I have multiple people, I can say, I can just separate them with commas, and I can put, you can copy and paste 100 names in here if you want to.
So
These.
they'll be able to see the other names? Is there any way that they could choose who they're able to see within that group? Because, for example, I'm currently in other instructors that I have names. If I want a student to also have access to maybe a module that I want to create, will they have accessibility of seeing the other instructors' email address?
Yes.
One
But
thing is, well, never mind, go ahead.
Okay.
yes, but that's yes is the answer to your question. I'm trying to, without getting too confusing, I want to. We can make Canvas do whatever you want it to do. Is the short answer. We'll have to set up something called groups, which is fairly straightforward, and it's available in this same area. But from right here, I want these two people to be students,
Okay.
so I'm going to say student next. It actually found them. These are already users in here, so it found their real names. If they were not real users already, it would invite them to create a username and password, so you don't have to fool with getting their username and password and all of that. So I'll click add users and then done, and I can see in this list I have invited these people to join, but they have not accepted the invitation. And if they say, oh, I didn't get any invitation, you can come over here and say, well, I'm going to resend your invitation. Now Jeremy has multiple emails from me now inviting him to join this course that he knows nothing about. Now, to answer your question, I have lots of people in this class. I don't necessarily want them all doing the same thing. I want to be able to contact all of them, but I don't necessarily want them all interacting with each other. Top right, you have user groups. You can say create a group, group 1, call them whatever. You can set these groups to where they add themselves to the groups, but that doesn't sound like what you want. Or you can say automatically split them up into 2s or whatever. You can click on the thing and say split them up into groups of 2. But we don't want to do that. We want to create groups manually. So I save, and oh, there's a different, they've added something. There's a group set and then a group. So we've added a group set. Group 1.
Is it different?
Well, you have a set, and then you have your groups, and then you have the members, and you would have, lots of members, and then you can create another set. It didn't used to be like that, just added that.
Because you use a group sets comes up.
If you're an instructor in the class, you should have access to all of that.
No, I just group set, I don't have.
Mine says courses, there's no courses and groups. You just don't like me, I know it.
No, you're in the wrong place. If you click on the people button on the left,
It's grayed out.
that's okay. You're an instructor, so you always have access. Even though they're grayed out, you have access to them.
Well, you don't have to group, I think.
Right.
And at the top, I don't have, all I have is courses. You've got courses and groups.
Right. You're not, because you're not in a group.
And does
But-
it matter as far as Siobhan is concerned, because do you recall the teachers they're listed as students in their parent group, and then in their own classes, they're listed as teachers? Does it matter which class she's in right now?
Yeah. Now, all of this, you would want to be a teacher
So,
in these classes.
are you in the Opelika AM right now?
Yeah.
You would need teacher. All of this is teacher access. Now, that courses and groups in the top left, you actually have to be a member of a group for that to show. And I'm a member of all of these different groups, but we're actually creating groups inside other classes right now. So the people button, and then we see all of the people in this course, and then at the top right, view user groups. Now we have a group set called, I really don't want it to be called group 1. Let me delete all this junk. Set 1. Okay. You can create sets of groups, which is it's overcomplicating it in my opinion, but see, I've got these tabs for these sets of groups, but I really just need one set of groups. So we can create a group, and we might call it Monday. It's the Monday group. Let's create another group. Call it Wednesday group. We'll make another one, call it Friday. I don't know if I put them all. That's a group one. Oh, God. I didn't call this one Monday group. I gotta change it. This little gear icon off to the right almost always has your options, so you can edit or delete that group or whatever. So here are my people, and I can't explain why I don't see all of my users here, but I can click on these people and I can say, okay, Jeremy goes in the Monday group, Stephanie goes in the Wednesday group. Now they can only be in one group per set. Does that make sense? So now when I drop this little thing down, I can say, and you can drag them around if they need to be in different different groups. And then each group kind of has its own home page. You can set up modules, and the members of groups can see who else is in their group, and you can set up modules and assignments and things that are specific to that group. At some point, though, you need to decide if your groups and your different sets of students has gotten complicated enough that you just need another class in Canvas. And we can always add more classes, but sometimes you can manage different subsets with the groups in Canvas. So play with that probably, and you'll come up with some questions and things, and we'll hit that again. Did you have a question earlier? What's her name in the far back? Sharon. Did you have a question earlier?
No.
Okay. So that's sort of how to handle people in Canvas. Everybody can, or an instructor can always click on the people button, even if it's grayed out. Mine's grayed out, and you can manage the people here. And this is important for you because you are managing these people manually. Now, for courses that are on the schedule here at Southern Union, this is all done automatically. The students register and they show up, they drop, and they go away. So I admit to not having a whole lot of experience with manually working with students and groups and things. But now that we have a course and we've got some people in it, we need to get some stuff in it. Now, at this home, you'll always have this home button is always the top left, and it always takes you to your home page. Now, by default, the home page just shows recent activity, what's been going on in Canvas. It may be, and this page is updated automatically depending on what is going on in Canvas. If you've posted some announcement, or there's a due date coming up, if there's something due within the next week, or if something was graded recently, this page is going to be dynamic for every student. If Johnny logs in and you've recently graded discussion 2 or something, that information is going to show here for Johnny. Now, you can adjust this home page. I don't like to use the recent activity as the home page for this very reason. There's not always recent activity to view, so it may just be blank, and I don't like for it to be blank. So on mine, I go to Edit Home Page, and you have some different options here. You can make it their syllabus or the list of assignments, but I like to use this course modules as the home page. And the course modules is basically the stuff in the course. It would include discussions and assignments. Right now I have a module called Examity, and then one item in that module called Examity, but I don't want those there. I don't even know what that is, so I'm gonna do the little gear icon and delete that, so it's gone. So I don't have any modules right now. I'm going to create one, and I will call it Getting Started, because I want students to do this first. I'm not going to lock it by date, but I do want students to do the items in this module sequentially. I want them to start at the beginning and have to work through them, in order, in the order that I decide. So here's my Getting Started module. I'm going to publish it. You have to click on this little cloud to publish it. And the little plus sign lets me add something to it. And I don't really have anything in this course, so I'll upload some files. You can choose from your list of item types here. File. I don't have any files, so I need to click on New File and upload. And this is a lot like you might upload or attach something to an email. We'll do that, whatever that is. And hit add item. So I uploaded that Word document there. Let's add something else. We'll add another file, a new file, and we'll do that, whatever that is. Add item. And then I think I had an assignment. We'll say assignment. Oh, there is an assignment here, so I'll add my assignment. And then publish all of that. But these Word documents I uploaded just have the file name for the document, and I don't like having that. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because it has the file extension. So you can go over here to the gear icon, edit, and then change this name to whatever you want. I'll do that for this one too. So now I have named those something that will make sense to students, and you can click on this little, I don't know what you call this little icon, it's a bunch of dots, but you can click on it and drag these items around into whatever order you like. So that is my Getting Started module. I can create another module, and we might call this one Unit 1. And I don't care if they move through this one in order, but I do want to make sure that before they start the Unit 1 module, they complete the Getting Started module. So it says here, before students can view this module, they must complete the Getting Started module. So I have a Getting Started module and a Unit 1 module with nothing in it. Let's add something to it so it doesn't look so skinny. Discussion. Okay, so the Unit 1 module has a discussion posting in it, but before they can get to the Unit 1 module, they have to complete the Getting Started module. Now, that may seem complicated, but let me explain. Students, if they are put in an online course, again, if there are a lot of buttons for them to click on with no obvious one to go to first, they oftentimes will just start clicking. And so I like to have very clearly defined what to click on first. And in my real online courses, let me go to right quick, I have this very same layout, and this first item is the syllabus, and I even put on here, read this first. And I have it set up this same way where they have to go through this sort of sequentially. I want them to click on that first because it shows them what to do next. So before they can get to the real content of the course, they have to have satisfied that Getting Started module. Does that make sense? And so then I could do a Unit 2. I might finish out Unit 1 with some PowerPoints and maybe a video and a discussion and assignment and then maybe a quiz, and that's all Unit 1. And then Unit 2 would be sort of the same format with the next unit's content. And so you would work through that for the entire term. Now, I'm kind of speaking in terms of, you know, how I might present an online course. If you have access to these students and you actually see them on occasion, then obviously you can work through this, you know, with them in class and sort of explain what you expect of them. But that's the idea. Now, we have not spent any time looking at how to set up an assignment and how to do a discussion or how to do a test. We're a little over half as far as our time through this session. Do we want to look at discussions and quizzes and assignments, or do y'all have some questions you want to work through, or what do you think?
I have one question.
Okay.
The scheduling function, I tried to use, and I'm not sure I don't think it worked. I think that, and I tried to do it twice. I tried to send out a message and allow people to set up time frames. I think the message was received, but I was unable, when I went back in, I couldn't see, like I had one person, like I think one person responded with a time frame, but when I went back in, I couldn't see the calendar or whatever I'm supposed to see. Could you go through the skip, how, like if I want to set up?
I will try. Now, Jeremy uses that for his ORI 101, and I think it works, but I haven't played with it a whole lot. We'll look at it together, though.
Okay.
So if you go to the calendar button, and this is a relatively new feature in Canvas. They haven't been doing this but just a few months. So if you go to calendar, you see your calendar, and there's not much in this one now, or not for May anyway. All of your items are color coded, the calendar items. Here's some older stuff, but you can choose over here which items show and which, oh shoot, and which don't. But the question was how to use this scheduler thing. Up here at the top, there's a button called Scheduler. And what you can do is create appointment groups. If you had if we wanted to schedule something like this, and it was, imagine and I do these a lot of times on Friday mornings, and we have, 10 to 12. But what if they got so popular that I was having 40 and 50 try to get in? Well, there's no room for 40 or 50 people in this room. So I might set up an appointment group and say, okay, you got to sign up for these things now. You can do that with an appointment group. You can call it whatever you want. Give it a name, give it a location, and there's nothing magic about either of those. That's just descriptive there. A calendar. If you have multiple courses in Canvas, you will see all of those listed here. I want this to go on the playground calendar. That's what I've called this course that I'm playing with here. You can integrate, if you have done your student groups, you can have the entire group sign up for an event if you want. We want this to be what? Today, from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock today. PM. That is my first time range. You can set up multiple time ranges if you wanted to do, okay, tomorrow from 2 to 5. And you can say, okay, there's a session, every session is 30 minutes long. And again, they use this for the academic advising. They'll have 150 students take ORI 101, but part of that ORI 101 is that students have to come in and meet with an advisor. Well, right now they have to call Miss Norma, schedule that, and it's just not, logistically, it's hard to work out. But now they're using this this thing, which lets Jeremy go in and say, okay, I'm going to be here between these times, and I can meet with students in 15-minute intervals, and then the students go and sign up themselves, and then it sends them reminders and says, don't forget you have an appointment or whatever. And then Jeremy can go in and see, I've got 25 people coming today or whatever. We're going to split all of this time today from 2 to 5 and tomorrow from 2 to 5. We're going to split all of that up into 30-minute sections, and it has done all of that for us. Limit each session to, if I were doing this for me in this room, I would say 35. That's about how many I can get in here. Jeremy does this for one. He just has one student at a time, so whatever works for you. Do you
Okay, what did you just do? I didn't get all the time slots for some reason.
this right here, the split button,
Yeah.
it let me split up all of that, the time slots that I selected, the big time slots, like from today from 2 to 5. I say, okay, split that up into 30-minute intervals. And when I click that button, it created all of these for me.
But I don't see.
You have to be sure to make your big time slot big enough to hold several of the smaller times. So that's why I did 2 to 5. That way I can get several 30-minute sessions in there. So if you care, you can allow or not allow students to see who has signed up. I don't know why that would be important. If you click this, then Johnny might be able to tell that Sally has signed up for the time slot just before or after him. And then give it some instructions here. Participants can attend one appointment, and then push go. And so, Miss Martha, you are actually in this course, so you maybe, I don't know if, since you're an instructor, I don't know if you can sign up or not.
That's what I was gonna ask. What does it look like when it comes to the, whoever's been invited?
I don't know.
And then, because I did that. I did all of that you just did. And I had, a couple of people to set up the appointments.
But you
Like I
couldn't tell.
received a message that they had set up the appointment, I think.
Uh-huh.
But when I went back to the calendar feature, it wasn't there, and I didn't know how to manage it. Like I couldn't tell.
Well, if you go back to the calendar, and this is the regular calendar, but if I click on scheduler here again, then this is the session that I created, and I have no people signed up for it. If I click on it, it should expand, and I can say, here are all of my available sessions. If I click on them, I can see that there's still one slot available. So this should start to populate. Yeah, and I think the students' names are going to show here as they begin to register for these things. You can click up here and message students who, you can say all the students who haven't signed up for something, send them a message. Or all the users who have signed up, send them a message. I use this a lot in the Grade Center. You can say, email students who have not submitted an assignment, tell them to get on the ball, or you've got 2 more days or whatever. So you could send a reminder here saying, please, you've not signed up. And that's important because you don't want to email all of the users and say, please be sure to sign up, because some of them already have. And if you send them an email, they think that you sent the email directly to them. And so if they get an email saying, please sign up, but they think they already have signed up, then you've just generated another email that another student you have to deal with, because they're confused. They're going to ask, well, did I sign up? Can you check and see? Then you have to go in and check, yes, you signed up. So you can save yourself a lot of clicks and a lot of talking on the phone if you'll target your audience a little bit in these reminders and things.
How did you get to send a message to?
This little gear icon, message students who.
I haven't gotten it. I'm still where you had the appointments, you publish.
Yeah, I did the publish thing,
I already saved it.
and then that put me back here,
Um,
and then the little gear thing
Got
had,
it.
okay.
Okay.
Now, I would like to see what it looks like to have people in here. Let me see if I can look right quick. Jeremy was using this. He may have some in his ORI.
So at this point, Jeremy signed up for almost every class there is, right? Because we keep using him as an example.
Well, yeah, and he keeps removing himself. No. He does not have any, like I was hoping. That's just the one that I created. So that's, we got about 10 minutes left. That's a real quick look at how to make Canvas sort of do what it does. There are so many little things, and what we can do maybe next time is focus on something like discussion postings, or how to create quizzes. Have y'all played with the quizzes or the discussions at all? There are one thing that I've sort of started to experiment with a little bit is the conferences. Now you get to see your students, don't they come in weekly or so? Okay. I don't see my students unless I force them to see me, and so I've begun using this conferences thing, which is a video conference. I have a webcam somewhere that you can go in there and create a conference, and then I'll hold online office hours maybe from like 11 to 1 on Fridays. I'll do online office hours, and I'll just have this going, and students will chime in, and then we'll just chat. And it's kind of a way to get them connected with me, and I can hold them accountable on some things, and it really works. Now, if you don't want to do the video conference, which I can understand, you can just do this chat thing, and you can say, okay, I'm going to be on the online chat from 11 to 1, or on Friday mornings or whatever. I'm going to be on the chat. So I've got this button turned on, obviously, so students can click on it, and I'm waiting on it to load right now. That's why this is blank. Okay, there it goes. So this doesn't require any setup. I can just start going. Now, Miss Martha, will you go into the chat thing? Since you're actually in this course, you and I can chat. So I can just start typing. And students should start, if they're here, they should start to show in this list. And so I might just leave this open, you know, as I'm working on something else. I've got my online office hours going, and I'm available to chat or whatever. And so I might have 6 or 8 students chime in, and we'll talk about the next discussion posting, or, you know, expectations of the final assignment or something. I don't know what it is that you do, but you can chat. Now, one thing to keep in mind about the chat is that it remembers everything. It keeps up with your chat history, and that may be good or bad. Depending on how the conversation is going, you may not want Canvas to track that. A lot of times, students will say, well, I'm so sorry, I missed test 2. I had my grandma this, and my dog that, and my car this, and there's just stuff that you don't want necessarily to have available, because you don't know who's going to go digging around in the history later on. So if the conversation is going that way, then you may just say, here's my number, call me, and we'll talk about whatever the issue is. Yes, ma'am.
This question is for Janetta and Matt is supposed to be on. Are they supposed to be watching this or something?
Why do you see it?
Well, she's on chat. She says we can't see or hear anything.
I didn't know that they were planning to try to video it. Yeah.
Okay, so Ms. Martha's in there now, and then there's her comment. Now, I can click on this history button, and I can retrieve all of the chat histories, not just for today, but on back into, you know, I can choose the date that I want to go back to. Now, the idea here is that maybe my instructor held some really important discussion on some upcoming assignment and I missed it, so I want to get the chat transcripts. So there's a time and place for, you know, drama, but not in the chat rooms. Just be careful. Give students your phone number and just have them call you if it's something that either of you want off the record.
One thing that I thought was helpful, or maybe useful, the last time you did this training for us, you went to, I forget the name of it, but where it was a document that people in different places could add on to.
Yeah, now that's the collaborations tool, which I have. I'm going to get out of chat. Collaborations is right here, and I have it turned off for students right now, but I can still click on it because I'm an instructor. Collaborations, and these are some other ones that I have created. I'm going to delete all these because I don't need all these. I like to use, when you go to create a new collaboration, it's going to ask you if this is going to be with Etherpad or Google Docs. I like to use Etherpad because it doesn't require any kind of additional login or anything. If you use Google Docs, then you have to link it up with your Google account and jump through some additional hoops. So I like to use that Etherpad. It seems to work just as well without with about 35 fewer clicks. So just leave that on Etherpad, give it some name, my collaboration, some description if you care. Now, and this is where you choose, okay, these people are going to, let me get Miss Martha in here. Well, I'll just put everybody in this collaboration. Now, if you've set up groups, like we talked about earlier, you can just say, this collaboration is for my Monday group, or this collaboration is for my Friday or Wednesday group. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just choosing people individually. But no, I don't want Jeremy in there. I'll take him out. So start collaborating. Now, Miss Martha, can you go over into this thing? So, because you're my only other user. Now, the first thing I like to do when I get in a collaboration is go up here and choose my color, because somebody always gets the good colors. So I'm going to say blue. That's me. So anything that's highlighted in blue is from Adam. Now, if all of those people that I invited were actually online right now, they would begin to show up in this. Oh, there she is. But you got to give yourself a name. Change your name and your color. Like, I just clicked on that color next to my name, and you get a little wheel thing. Is that not you, Miss Martha?
That's me, I'm just having trouble.
You can.
I use
An ergonomic, the flat one.
Okay. Okay. So there she is. Now, go over here and add something to the document. Like. Okay, so there come her changes, and you know, imagine 13 or 15 different people, and that would be an excellent group assignment. You know, if you've got them all in a room together, even they all get in here and say, look, we're going to collaborate and we're going to develop a presentation on something. I don't know what it is that you do, but it's a good way to get them to force them to work together on something. So that's the collaboration. Now, one of the really neat things here is this time slider. So I can click on that time slider and I can run this back or forward and track my changes sort of as they happen. Or I can run it all the way back to the beginning and hit play, and that was very fast because there's not a lot, but I can hit play and you see the document created and you know, as it was made. So let me go back. You can save these. If I wanted to save the document, if as a group I decide, okay, I got it like I want it, let's save it. So we'll save this version. Then we'll keep playing with it, but we know that we've got this version saved, so we can always come back to this. You can export this as a PDF or some other file type. If you're supposed to submit it to an instructor as a PDF, if this is a group assignment and the group needs to submit something, you could export it as a PDF and upload it. What else do we have? Settings. You can monkey with all of this if you want to. Somewhere, yeah, I can say, look, we're going to submit this as is. I'm going to click here and remove all of my authorship code. So we don't know who did what. We're all getting equal credit for this assignment. So we're going to turn it in without the instructor knowing who did what. So you can remove that, and you can't unremove those. So that is the collaborations thing. And you can have multiple. I've got one going here called My Collaboration. You can have several of those going at one time if you want to. And you don't have to finish it in a single session. I can close this and then we can go back to it next week, or you can work on it from home or whatever you want to do. So that's that. Now, do we want to go and look at the smartboard thing, or do we have more questions on this? Or it's 11:03.
Yes, we do want to look at smartboard. Did anybody have any questions or want to share anything? Has anybody used Canvas this session? Have you used it either with your teacher in your pod or with your students? Is there anything that you would like to share or any questions that you have regarding Canvas?
Well, let me show you one thing. If you haven't been using it, one thing that's very practical that you may sort of get you over the hump. If you don't use it for anything else, you might like this attendance tool. Now, each of these things, I usually will spend an hour or so on each of them. There's so much more going on here than we've looked at. I think they're the only two students in here. That's why they're showing like this. Let me go and make these other people. Can I make them students? Yeah, they're all teachers. I don't think I can change their status. I'll go into a real course. This attendance button, you should have attendance over on the left somewhere. I've turned mine off. Attendance. Okay, so click on attendance. If you don't use Canvas for anything else, you're going to love this. I have multiple sections in this course, but I'll choose this first section. These are all the students in this course. And right now, this attendance I'm looking at today, Monday, May the 5th. I can say, as if this were an in-person group, which would apply to you, you can say, okay, Brittany is here, Renee is here, Megan told me she's going to be out, Joseph is here, Margaret is here, but she's late. Lauren, I don't know what the deal is with these here, here, here. Oh, she came in here. So you can track all of this, or you can click over here on class and you can do a seating chart. You can put these people where you think they need to go. I'm not going to do all of them. You can say, okay, here, here, out, here. And I'm just clicking on this and it's toggling through the different options. And I don't know what that is. So this is just for today. If I click over to the next day, May the 6th, it clears all of this, and you have to attend every day. And I can say everybody's here. I'll just mark all as present today. And then tomorrow, they're all here except for her. She's late. Now, the benefit to this is I can go back to today, and there's my attendance record from today. Now, this list is pulled from the students that we added. Remember in the people button? These students were all added in that people thing. So if it comes to the end of the term and you've got to fail Johnny because he didn't do his work, then you can pull this. You can say, I need to pull an attendance report from the beginning of the term, which would have been January-ish, to about today for, I don't know any students' IDs. You can pull that from that people button. I don't know any of their IDs. You could put that there, or you can just pull everybody. I'm going to pull everybody and hit run report. And that will email you a report of the attendance, which would be very helpful in being able to defend your decision to give Johnny an F or whatever based on his performance. So a lot of instructors find this as sort of a catalyst to get into Canvas. They won't do any of the other stuff we talked about. They'll just use it to keep up with attendance. And there's an interesting tie-in to the Smartboard